Remember when Trevor Lawrence was touted as the next Peyton Manning? Yeah, about that. 4 years into his NFL career, and Lawrence is looking less like a future Hall of Famer and more like, well, we're not sure yet. But here's the thing. Lawrence has actually shown flashes of brilliance. So what's the deal? Is he actually bad, or is he just stuck in a bad situation? Today, we're breaking down every aspect of Lawrence's game to find out. Now, before we dive into the nitty-gritty, let's talk about the hype. This guy wasn't just good coming out of college. He was legendary. ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr., the draft guru himself, ranked Lawrence as the 4th highest graded quarterback he'd ever evaluated. That's some serious praise. But has he lived up to it? Well, that's what we're here to figure out. So let's rewind the clock and start at the beginning of Trevor Lawrence's journey to the NFL. Trevor Lawrence's rise to stardom began at Cartersville High School in Georgia. His numbers were staggering from the start. 3,042 yards and 26 touchdowns as a freshman, ramping up to 3,904 yards and 51 touchdowns by junior year. But it wasn't just stats. Lawrence led Cartersville to 41 straight wins, 2 state championships, and 4 region titles. In 2017, he broke Georgia's state records for passing yards and touchdowns, records previously held by Deshaun Watson. Now, before we continue, let's talk about the hair. I mean, come on, it's practically its own character in this story. Those golden flowing locks became as much a part of Trevor's identity as his rocket arm. But don't let the surfer boy look fool you. This kid was all business on the field. At 6'6" with a cannon arm, Lawrence had the physical tools. But what made him the nation's top recruit was his consistent dominance against elite competition, combined with remarkable football IQ. When he committed to Clemson in December 2016, he wasn't just another talented prospect. He was labeled a generational talent. And unlike many high school phenoms, Lawrence was about to prove he deserved the hype. Lawrence wasted no time at Clemson. 4 games into his freshman year, he seized the starting job and never looked back. His first season was a masterclass. 3,280 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, and a 65.2% completion rate. But his defining moment came in the national championship, where he dismantled Nick Saban's Alabama 44-16. The kind of performance that turns heads across the NFL. The dominance continued in the Cotton Bowl against Notre Dame, where Lawrence carved up the Fighting Irish with 327 yards and 3 touchdowns. But stats only tell half the story. His real superpower was his composure under pressure, something Coach Dabo Swinney frequently highlighted. He has a unique ability to stay calm and make plays when it matters most. The 2019 Fiesta Bowl against Ohio State showcased everything that made Lawrence special. When Clemson needed him most, he didn't just pass for 259 yards and 2 touchdowns. He stunned the Buckeyes with 107 rushing yards, proving he was more than just a pocket passer. It was the type of clutch performance that separated him from other elite prospects. Lawrence finished his Clemson career with an almost untouchable 34-2 record, racking up accolades like National Freshman of the Year and the Archie Griffin Award. His 3 years with the Tigers weren't just successful, they were historic. Every big game, every pressure situation, Lawrence delivered. He hadn't just lived up to the generational talent hype, he'd exceeded it, leaving college football analysts scrambling for new superlatives to describe his potential. Lawrence's NFL debut wasn't exactly the fairy tale continuation of his college career. The Jacksonville Jaguars, fresh off a 1-15 season, drafted him first overall in 2021. Their brilliant plan? Pair their franchise quarterback with Urban Meyer, a college coaching legend with 0 NFL experience. What could go wrong? Everything, as it turned out. Lawrence's rookie numbers were painful. 59.6% completion rate, 3,641 yards, 12 touchdowns, and a league-high 17 interceptions. That cool under pressure trait from Clemson? It was tested during a brutal stretch where he threw just 2 touchdown passes in 9 games. 7 of them with 0 touchdowns. Sure, there were flashes of brilliance. His NFL debut featured 332 yards and 3 touchdowns. The catch? 3 interceptions in a losing effort against the Texans. He finally got his first win in Week 6 against Miami, throwing for 319 yards and snapping the Jaguars' 20-game losing streak. But Lawrence's rookie season wasn't just about growing pains. It was about surviving a perfect storm of organizational chaos, questionable coaching, and the NFL's brutal learning curve. The real question wasn't whether Lawrence was bad, but whether anyone could have succeeded in that environment. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this breakdown, please make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out. All right, now back to it. Remember that perfect storm of issues in Lawrence's rookie season? Turns out it had a silver lining. In 2022, he didn't just improve, he became a different quarterback entirely. But this transformation wasn't just about better coaching or decision-making. It was something deeper, something no one saw coming. Enter Doug Pederson. A new head coach might not seem like a game changer, but in this case, he absolutely was. The impact? Lawrence completed 66.3% of his passes for 4,113 yards, 25 touchdowns, and just 8 interceptions. A massive leap from his turnover-heavy rookie year. But the stats only tell part of the story. He was reading defenses, commanding the offense, and playing like a true franchise quarterback. Need proof? Look no further than that wildcard game against the Chargers. Down 27 points, Lawrence led a stunning second-half comeback with 4 touchdowns. That wasn't a fluke. It was a glimpse of something bigger brewing in Jacksonville. So what changed? Pederson brought stability and a QB-friendly system, but Lawrence rediscovered his composure under pressure. The same trait that made him a star at Clemson. And it wasn't just about big throws. It was about leadership, poise, and delivering in clutch moments. Remember that overtime win against the Cowboys? 4 touchdowns. Game on the line. The kind of performance that silences doubters. But just when it seemed like Lawrence was back on the fast track to superstardom, 2023 threw a curveball. Something unexpected was on the horizon. Trevor Lawrence's 2023 season wasn't outright terrible, but it was undeniably frustrating. He showed flashes of brilliance, but inconsistency and injuries kept him from taking that next step to elite status. He started strong, leading the Jaguars to a Week 1 win over the Colts with 241 yards and 2 touchdowns, but from there, things got shaky. Against the Chiefs in Week 2, his accuracy dipped. Week 3 against the Texans, a loss with more interceptions than touchdowns. One week he looked like a star, the next like a rookie. Even in big performances, like his 315-yard game against the Bills in Week 5, turnovers haunted him. Then came the real turning point, a left knee sprain in Week 6. He played through it, showing toughness, but it's fair to ask how much it impacted his season. By year's end, Lawrence posted 4,016 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. Solid, but not spectacular. The real issue? Unpredictability. One week he'd be AFC Offensive Player of the Week, the next he'd struggle to move the ball. Then came 2024, when his season was cut short after 10 games. He completed 60.6% of his passes for 2,045 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions before a concussion and subsequent shoulder injury ended his year. The Jaguars, already in trouble, finished 2-8 in games he started. So, how bad is Trevor Lawrence? He's not bad. He's just unfinished. His talent is undeniable, but his durability and Jackson's ability to build around him will determine whether he ever reaches true franchise QB status in 2025 and beyond.